Run. Okay, welcome back to the stream. And yesterday, while closing the stream or before closing the stream, we got into issue where the build was not successful, but on rerun, actually it worked. So if I go back to the repository, and so the last run is successful. So it was just some weird yarn install issue on Cloudflare, and it got resolved. But we figured out that nestjs is something which doesn't work on Cloudflare. So I tried to ask, of course, try to search the internet and let's see if ChatGPT agrees. Can I deploy nestjs? Not next. Okay, I should be back now. Let's see. Okay, what's happening here? Oh, oh, this is weird. Yeah, Tariq, thanks for letting me know. I think I'm back now. I hope you're able to hear me. Yeah, okay. Yeah, something broke. Maybe. Okay, so I was talking about like the I was talking about the API documentation we generally do, right? I mean, you might have used something known as Swagger. Anyone who has used Swagger here and knows about Swagger. So Swagger has been there for I think more than a decade now, and it's a pretty good I would say pretty good solution for writing documentation because it has integration with most of the programming languages. And Scalar is doing something similar, but the one of the things which I saw is they have their own registry. I can generate the SDKs as well. You see, yeah, I can generate the SDK from the doc. I can import API. So if I have an open API document, I can also import the APIs. And this is easy to integrate as well. So I was just going through documentation. So let's see. And what we can do is let's try to do this, learn how to document your API, right? So API references, Scalar Pro, and Scalar.com. I think that should be okay, GitHub sync, Scalar registry, and I think there is another documentation which I came across for the integration. So it's on the GitHub. So uh, there are some quick start guidelines, integrations, right? So I can use, and they have already an integration with nestjs, which I can go ahead and directly use. So it was under integrations. Nestjs. Okay, so let's go ahead and try to use it. We already have an API endpoint and see if this works. So this is the first API integration or first API we already have. Let's create a new one because I don't want to test this. And maybe I'll just create a new one. And to do that, I'll do first few more things before I go ahead and create this controller. I want to install an example, which is really useful, like in case I want to just run some commands, create some files. So let's do an console. Use an console. So NX console gives you all this information which you can basically run. So I have a generate command. I can say, okay, I need a controller. So I think an X nest controller, yeah, this is what I need. So I can say, okay, the file path to the controller, and I can say, okay, this is relative to the working directory. So I just say, okay, let's do this. Okay, relative path, and not yet. And um, I want, yeah. So I hope you see my screen now. I was talking about, sorry, Scalar, and then I forgot to share my screen. Sorry, it's been a very long day, and yeah, somehow I woke up at 4:30 a.m. for no reason, and I'm still lost. Okay, so I was talking about the Scalar, which is similar. what you can say is gives you some similar information which Swagger does. So you can go to Scalar.com and it has some authentication. You can also use GitHub. It's free, and uh, there is a it as it's an open source project. Actually, you can just use it for free. It's nothing which you have to pay for. And they have nestjs integration. So I'm using for my server-side development, I'm using nestjs. So I can go ahead and use the same Swagger module. You see, you might have used Swagger before. I think all of us tried it some point of time. And if you're still writing APIs, probably you still do. So I did a lot of Swagger integration when I was working on AWS APIs back in the day, and tried to. I mean, I've also integrated um, Swagger when working on Express APIs. I never did it with Nest.js, but though it's easy. I mean, I was just doing it for one of my other side projects, and it was so simple because Nest.js also has an integration with Swagger. So let's go ahead and try the Scalar one because I want to see like how the UI is different. It says it has much better UI than Swagger, and let's go ahead and try this out. First thing which I want to do is I want to install NX console, which gives me access to all the NX command I can run. And one of them is, of course, like I can generate command. Need some code. Oh, okay. I mean, probably this page because this is too small. But you can actually go to the repository of Scalar, and then you'll find some integrations, or you can just directly come to the Scalar rights, and then you can go to the integration where it has integration with almost every other programming languages which is there. So they have integration for React for this. So the one we want to use is Nest.js. So let's go ahead and try to integrate JS with this. And first thing which I want to do is I want to get a new controller. We already have one. Last time we created the SSPR where there is an auth controller for GitHub authentication, which we are using for our front end. And let's go ahead and create a new controller. This will be maybe I'll call this event. Let's see. So the controller or generator I want to use is nestjs nextnest. And first thing which I need is where I want to create this new controller. I'll just go ahead and create it inside this folder for now. And I can just create a path and I'll say, okay, this is even this fail to process project. Okay, let's get to the branch first. Uh, Feature add Scalar for API documentation. So I don't by mistake push the code here. Funny coder. Is it does it look blur? You mean the VS Code or it was the website? Because interesting. So let's see. I'll just go ahead and run yarn install just to make sure everything is installed. Yarn links reset because it is complaining about the project graph. And let's see if I can run this now. So language is default one, module, the website. Okay, okay. I'll just share the link as well. The link is this one, which I'm using. Um, This is, of course, my code window, so I think this should be okay. So I'm just using this nestjs controller generator to generate a new controller. And unit test run out. Let's see if it works. When I generate, and oh, it failed. Oh, what is this? Where has this issue? Mhm. Yeah. Oh, why this is complaining about Alex plugin? This was something. Okay. Okay, let's do one thing for now. I mean, I don't have much time to see what's happening here, but I can create a new controller copy and I just call it as uh, rather than auth, I'll just call it as events. Or okay, let's call it as events for now, and then maybe I can change it later on. So this is the new controller file, and I'll just change few things which I don't want here. So I'll just say this is events controller. Just remove everything and meet the logger. Okay, we'll just remove this and let's add a post request, and I'll call this as events. And right, let's change it here events, and then I'll say this is add, right? Or just yeah, this is fine, right? Just or maybe add is okay. So add events, and then I can have get call, which I can say okay, this is get yeah, get all events, and then because I don't have data right now, so it's okay. And then we can add some data. We are trying to do is we're just trying to add the Scalar API for now. So here, what I will do is for create event right now, I need create event DTO, and let's do that. So we already have a DTO for auth. We'll just create one more events and DTO.ps. So generally, in SJS, you create this videos data transfer object, which you will generally use in case you want to post some data or you want to get some data. So you can remove some information which is typically not useful for your front end, right? So I can just copy this, start with, and so this is events. What I'm doing right now is something which is already available on documentation. So if you write out, so is string. So what I can have is a conference name because for this name location, I also need date. I think there is. Okay, let's go back and see. I think in nestjs documentation, there's way to mark these properties for documentation. So I think I can just go ahead and use them. DTO, right? So let's just reduce annotation. Yeah, annotation. So this is what I'm looking for. Editing details with OpenAPI. Nest.js Swagger, and then is wrong with this. Okay. So yeah, this is what I needed. Nest.js Swagger, but it says they have an integration where Nest.js Swagger and pass an open segment document API reference middleware. Okay, so they just have a middleware, and then I think rest of the things is Swagger. So let's go ahead and add Swagger to the application first, and then we'll figure it out. So see, let's clear. And let's add let's say Swagger. Okay, and For Scalar, we need this middleware, so I'll just copy this and I can say yarn add Scalar nestjs-api-reference, right? So I'll just remove npm install and we are okay. So we have nestjs Swagger as well as Scalar nestjs-api-references, and then we can just club them together as per the documentation and we will have something done. And we have to mark them uh, for OpenAPI specification. So generally we use in nestjs, you use this API property. So it's available when we open the doc, right? So for example, this is an example, right, of start the documentation, and you can see this information if you have this API property, otherwise it won't be available. So let's start with just remove this because I don't need any validation. Oh, so it's always happening with the documentation, is it, Srina? I think I hope code is fine. I mean, I'll try to zoom in at particular maybe percentage, so it's not that much. So I'll say this is there is start date for this event and there is an end date for this event. And what else we need? I think this is more than enough information for now to start with. And events DTO. So let's go to the events controller. I'll say, okay, this is events. And here, what I'm going to do is I'm having some problem with the website. Right? So when I'm on the website, so I mean, as of now, we don't have any database or anything. So I just say, okay, this is just you will get the data what you post, right? And promise of event. No. Okay. Generally, SD rendering is good. I'm not sure. Promise of events. Okay. We see what else information I need in event. Do I need? Okay, let's go ahead and do the class for event as well. Yeah. Yes, Sriram. Yeah. Uh, yeah, sure, Sriram. So, what I'm building is I'm building a project, full stack project. It's called DevsWhoRun.dev, and we are using nestjs as backend and Angular as frontend. So the idea is, of course, as a developer, you can focus more on your health, and this website will have like right now we are working on signing with you can log in, post your running journey, and you can also like um, let's say if you have if you're going to conferences, you can actually, or if you're traveling to any other country, right, you can find the interested developer community who wants to maybe go for a sports with you, or someone who wants to organize something maybe virtually, and you all do it together, right? Virtually, but in different countries. So just a passion project, because I started running this year and I really got inspired from my own journey. I was like, okay, let's do this. Let's build something. So this is event, and I'll say, okay, this is, and yeah, this also add IV, and it should be first. So I can do it as const UUID. Isn't this UUID is available inside Node.js? Okay, let's see. Uh, It's available now, package UUID. Uh, It is not supported. No, context supported HTTP. I know UUID is. How do I create generate UID in JavaScript? Okay, we can use this one. UID. This is the US library, and I can do random import because crypto is already installed. And now I can do so. Shriram says which database. So I'm planning to use actually data AppRet. So we are already using AppRet authentication, and probably we will just stick with this. So what is this? ID is string. It's fine. But object literal name and signing property that it does not exist on. Because this event is coming from somewhere else. I need event from here, and it should be okay now. So yes, Ashram. Ah, oh, interesting. So if I select some conversation, it's not visible on X. It's only visible on YouTube. So I'm sure like this is not visible here in X comment. So it's not. So I'm Saksham. I'm actually streaming on three platforms: X, YouTube, and LinkedIn. And generally, this happens that when someone posts any comment on X, it's not visible on, let's say, YouTube or vice versa. So yes, of course, that's why I try to actually select the comment, right? Whatever I'm talking about right now. For example, I was just answering Sriram. He asked me like what database I'm. So yeah, I'm just sticking with that right for now. And it's a passion project anyways, right? It's not going to cost us a lot of money. And here, get all. I can say okay, this event, and um, let's see. I need some random generated values. Okay, so we have our controller available with some dummy information for now because we don't have database integration. And what we want to do is we want to add the API documentation. And we said we will be using Scalar, and there is the documentation. This is the documentation. This is how we can add it to nestjs. And before we can do that, we need to mark or use API property. So this properties will be visible to the message only. So here I'll just go back to my events. Let's add API property, and I can just import it. Mhm. Nest.js Swagger, and I need API property from here. Now I can just have the SQL here, and thanks to GitHub Copilot, I can just do it quickly. So okay, so now I mark all the properties as API properties, so my open API specification can read this and it will be available in the documentation. So far so good. Now let's go ahead and add the Swagger. So Swagger needs to be added in your main.ts file. This is where we actually run our server, right? So uh, create app module. This is factory which creates a module and then initialize it. And it will run on port 3001. And funny, this is 3001, generally it's 3000. Yeah, so she was saying something, but I forgot to be quiet. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with this. So we need a document builder first, and we need to do this after create app module. So let's add this documentation. Documentation builder should come from nestjs Swagger. I hope this is imported, and I would say this is uh, mm, DevsWhoRun API. Um, so API description, DevsWhoRun. So this is the This is it. And then we have to create this document by passing app and configuration. So I need Swagger module. And okay, so this is done. And then for OpenAPI specification, this is use. If you use serving an OpenAPI Swagger file already, okay. So if I am serving, okay, if I'm not, then what I have to do is I have to just go and say use API references. API references should come from this Scalar, the one, the package we added. So okay, this is installed and document. I just want to verify one more thing before I move ahead. Opening the introduction that I have Swagger set up. Okay, so it says document factory, Swagger, create document. Okay, I can just use this to do this. And okay, I'll just keep it simple. Nice. So we made all the changes. We have added API property. We added the Swagger integration. And once we run this, I should be able to see the documentation. So let's go ahead and do that. And to serve this application, of course, I can use and hope this works because there was some error earlier. But you can run this application by going to project.json, and there is a build serve all this command right, which I can run. So I can say okay, X run serve, and as I expected, it's failing. See, and DevsWhoRun API serve. Come on, it's the heck. This DevsWhoRun API serve. What is this command? Okay, let's do one thing. I'll just remove my modules and let's try to install it again. And once we are done with this integration, I think we should be okay. We can also use Fastify adapter in case we have Fastify. If I when use Fastify adapter, I'm not using Fastify with nestjs. So nestjs has like the default is Express, but you can also use Fastify if you want to. I think there's documentation how we can use use with Fastify. This is helmet, not this one. Yes. Model by controller, compression, performance, migration guide. Fastify has like so many different modules. So okay, so to use Fastify, you can pass new Fastify adapter, and that's it. Okay, nice. So this is done, and hope it works now. Okay, Alex. Yeah, I think this is I just wrote the incorrect command. Okay, so this is running, and you can see this is compiled. And now let's go back and see if it's working fine. The closed. I'm not seeing this message. I'm just 2001. I don't know. I know why. So let's go to the backend, DevsWhoRun API, app main.ts, because we have this integration of app, right? And we expect some variables to be initialized, which is causing this, but that's the actual reason. So it says that compiled successfully. So the application is working fine. And it's stuck somewhere. App service, this is app controller, uh, app service dot get data, and then there was auth controller, which connects to Appwrite, and there is separate config where we need some information, and Appwrite service, which initializes the client. Okay, so we have some error finally on the screen. Okay, let's see. So this is related to Appwrite configuration. This is a Appwrite configuration that's missing. This is why we are getting this error. So I'll just go ahead and add a .env file, copy this values over here, and I just pass the dummy values because I don't really want to take set up everything right now. Maybe I'll just do this next time. If they can update key and hope at least this starts the server. If not, then I have to do something else. Oh, 3000 file. Hey, Saksham, it's been a long time. How are you? By the way, anyone of you is planning to come to GitHub Universe? So, GitHub Universe 2025 is happening in San Francisco as it happens every year. I think this is from last 2 years. The location is Fort Mason in San Francisco. So there'll be a lot of amazing, great talks. There will be a lot of people, great people to hang out with. So yeah, if you are around maybe San Francisco already, or and see like if your employer can sponsor you and you can maybe come attend the conference, we can also meet. So agenda is already there. I've already booked my tickets. I've already booked my flights. I'm looking forward to attend mm, this this seniors. I've been there for two the past two events, and this will be my third one. Let's do okay because I made changes to my next run. Because I changed um, .env file. Maybe this is not something which is still visible. So hope this works now, and we are not doing anything else here. If not, I mean, I'll just make changes to this every config and make it work temporarily, and then we can check it out. Does it work? So endpoint project ID, new client set endpoint, set key, account. Oh, okay, because it's also doing this. Hmm. Okay, so it will not work with dummy data. So what I can do is for now, and I'll just do this initialize client, just comment this out and comment this out. So I think it should work. It will at least not try to connect to app, right? And is there anything else which I'm using from controller? Okay, and we are not using app right here, so I think this should be okay now. Anything related to app right? Okay, app module. Let's see if there is anything here for app mod. Okay, config.root, we are passing some information, upright config, env file path is fine. One thing, check in also do is I can comment this code for now and remove upright surface and just keep this and and just add humans controller and remove auth controller. So I'll just keep the ones which does not contain any database call or API call. So we can at least see our documentation. Yeah. The class transformer package is missing. Please make sure to install it and take advantage of validation pack. The class transformer. Okay, that's fine. But I can run 2001. No, not yet. So debugger listening on this. Successfully target build debugger process executed. What is wrong with this class transformer? Okay, good question. Why do I use TypeScript? I mean, of course, like TypeScript is a type-safe language. That's everyone knows. But I will tell you like why I started using it. So I came across TypeScript when I picked up Angular back in 2017. So that was the time I was moving away from .NET. I wanted to do something new, and there were many things, right? I mean, yeah, was there, and but my previous project also had a little bit of AngularJS. I was already aware of Angular ecosystem and Angular as soon as I saw it, and TypeScript clicked because I was a .NET developer, and then this like type safe type safe language really was really like a selling point for me because I think JavaScript was like a lot of I mean it was a lot of pain I would say personally because I never liked writing um, writing the vanilla JavaScript where it is not type safe, especially in case I'm mostly familiar with doing .NET, which is very type safe and I haven't faced any issues. So yeah, that was my but yeah, no. Now like people reach out to Nest.js, sorry, not Nest.js. People reach out to TypeScript first. And I remember like in 2017 when I was exploring Angular and people were complaining that I mean I'm moving away from Angular um, because of TypeScript. And now everyone is like using TypeScript everywhere. Go to any language. Is TypeScript really safe? As because of that. Yeah, that's a good question. Like, of course, TypeScript gives you some type safety, which you really don't get in JavaScript, right? So come on. So whenever I'm doing adding a new package, this is a common issue. I think this must be. I'll just report this to Linux maybe. So it gives you some type safety, right? I mean, especially when you are working on a large enterprise project where getting null or undefined is a very common issue. So yeah, I mean, it gives you better control when you write your code. So at least you can avoid those errors, undefined reading and the value of undefined reading value of null or something, or those values, which is annoying. Your end user sees those values or those errors in actually console, which is not a nice thing to do. If you're talking about more type safe, maybe yeah, it's not as what this is said, it's not a true type safe language like C, C++. It gets the job done. And to put it in this way. Or if you go to other languages like Rust, right, which is also memory safe, right? Because there is no concept of pointers there. So of course, different languages do different stuff. you need to choose your drugs, I would say, whether you want to do TypeScript or you want to do anything else. So let's see. Ended up nice. Finally, I to close 3001 running. Hello API. And then I can say slash, um, sorry. Okay. So wow, this looks really nice. I mean, let me zoom in. And this is the replacement, or you can say, this is the replacement of Swagger. So Swagger looks different. I'm sure like you all might have seen Swagger's UI, which is still the same after 10 years. And I wrote .NET APIs back in 20s. I wrote like a lot of .NET APIs back in 2014, 15, 16. And UI is still same. But this one, I can actually have search because let's say you have so many, I mean, I have, let's say, a lot of APIs. I can search, I can see the documentation. So I can go back to events, add, see the like request format. Like this is how I'll be posting a request. I can also test a request. So I can pass all this information here. Let's do that. Like so, I'll say, okay, this is uh, request location as set, start date as 25th October 2025, and end date is 28th October. Sriram, have you checked Dart? Okay. So when I was exploring Angular, I'm not sure like if anyone is aware because this is very interesting. Property conference name should not exist. Property location should not exist. Error 400. This is nice. Why? Anyways, let me answer your question, Sriram. So Angular, when Angular was working on Angular 2, which is now Angular, you can just call it as Angular. There were two languages support which was added. One was actually that. So there is a website, and you will be surprised to know this. That there is a website called Angular Dart, which still exists. Um, it's down now, but the project still exists. Project exists, but it was like marked as archive, and someone forked it maybe, and it was like they stopped. Yeah, yeah, that Angular got shut down. So, but yeah, this was actually the project which it was there. So Angular team really wanted to support that, but they decided, okay, let's not do this. We want to just support TypeScript, and that's how it went. And I never got the chance to actually use that, but I know like what it does. So okay, so this is interesting because I passed all this information and I got this application JSON should not exist, this should not exist, and nothing should exist. Why? Okay, let's see. So I can list to the get one, right? So events get all, and yeah, this works at least. So I can see this information. For add, maybe I'm just passing some wrong information. So uh, how if you end up trying Scalar for your own project documentation, this is nice. Add request, I can responses, app, there's nothing here, events, OpenAPI agreement, models, events, DTO, okay, conference name, and the location start date. So it gives me all this model information as well, events, all the APIs, and okay, dark mode, light mode, everything is available. And you can also this I can oh, Node.js and okay, so I can add client libraries. I can improve the documentation and say, okay, let's say maybe I'm still not sure what this does, but maybe if I'm publishing my packages, or maybe if I'm publishing my OpenAPI specification, I can like also publish my SDKs in different languages. So this is nice and pretty much useful. This is a code which you can generate in different languages. Swift, Ruby, let's do Node.js. No, well, just Touch. Okay, nice. So it generates the code as well. So I can go ahead and test it in different languages. Share JavaScript Kotlin. Okay, so this is how you make a post request, or this is get request. Much better than Swagger, I think. You are getting an echo. Interesting. Why? Because it should not. Uh, mhm, yes. Okay. Not sure like why, but I shouldn't be getting echo. I mean, I have an echo cancellation on. Okay, so this is the Scalar integration, and I can just go ahead and explore it more in future streams. But I really like it looks better than Swagger generally, which the one we use, and it's easy to integrate. So what you have to do is, of course, just go ahead and use Swagger module, which we need to we create this document, all the create document method, pass the application, and then configuration, which is here, right? So and then you can use references and then pass the reference and the document, and that's it. So I can change this to anything. Like I can say, okay, this is DevsWhoRun API. This works. So go ahead and give it a try. I will of course push this code on the repository which we are using. So this is the repository, just in case you want to give it a try, or see like how it is integrated, and maybe you can integrate Scalar into your own project. And that's it for the day. So I'll continue working on this project. As I said, this is my passion project. So just today we just wrote a simple controller, which and we ended up integrating Swagger and Scalar, basically Scalar, but we had to use Swagger to use Scalar. And uh, probably I'll also set up this Playwright configuration, so I can also try this login locally and see the more UI, because we have some things which are like behind login screen, and then I can just go ahead and add this to add more information and start using AppWrite database for saving the values which we are getting right now. And yeah, so thanks again for joining. I mean, yeah, I'll check the eco issue if there is any, and I'll also check the resolution issue in future streams. So good night and good evening wherever you are, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye bye.